Hello, so today we are going to learn about how to tune your Clarsach. So, the first things that we need to do is make sure that we have this here, which is a tuner. And I've got my contact mic as well attached to the tuner, so that I can place that onto the back of the harp, and that will help pick up the sounds, and the notes will appear on the screen as we are tuning it. So you need that. You also need a tuning key as well, which locks onto the pins, the tuning pins here on the harp. Then you can turn the pins either clockwise or anti-clockwise to tune. So now the other thing that you need to be able to do, or you need to make sure before you start, I'm just going to turn it around for now, make sure that all the levers on the harp are in the off position. So that means that they should all be facing down, they shouldn't be up like this, they should all be down whilst you're tuning the harp, so that we're not applying too much pressure onto the string as we tune up. So I'm just turning it around this way so that you can see the tuning pins properly, because these are the bits that we use to tune the harp up. So because we have all of the levers down, the key that we are in is E flat major. Okay, E flat major, and because of that, that makes things a wee bit more confusing when tuning up, because we have some different notes that we need to know about, and that will appear on the tuner as we're tuning it up. So it's important, it's really, really important that you make sure you tune to the correct note, and that means that you will be totally in tune when you play. So I'm just going to hold this up here. These are the notes that we're going to tune to, and as you can see, I've tried to mark out the coloured notes. So the red strings, all the red strings are C, the note C, and all the black strings are F. The other ones I have just made purple, even though they're colourless, but I like purple, so that was the only reason for that. So as you can see, we've got red string C, then the next note up is D, the note after that is E flat. Now that's important, make sure it has this little sign next to it when you're tuning it up using your tuner. The black note is F, the note next to that is G, the note above that is G sharp. Okay, that's really important as well, make sure it's G sharp when you're tuning this note. Okay, we quite often, as Clarsach players, we know that as A rather than G sharp. Okay, so this can be a wee bit confusing, but make sure it's not an A that you're tuning it up to, make sure it's a G sharp. And then the next note above that is B flat, and again, the flat sign, make sure that appears on the tuner, otherwise you are not tuning it to the right notes. So those are the notes, and I can link a little copy of this onto just under the video as well for your reference. Okay, so those are the notes that we're going to tune to going up the way. That's them in order going up. So C is the red string here, then up the way means getting higher. Okay, the strings get thinner as they get higher. So the next string up is D, E flat, F, G, G sharp, B flat, and then we're back to C, and it's the same pattern. It goes on and on and on as we go on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this electronic tuner. Okay, I need to switch it on using the red button, and it should come on. Okay, and just check as well before you start that it's on 440. Okay, 440, that's really important. Okay, and if it isn't, you can use these arrows up and down. These adjust the pitch and make sure that that number is on 440, no higher or lower. Okay, because that makes sure you are tuning it to the right pitch, which is concert pitch. Right, okay, so what we do first of all when we're tuning, as you can see at the back of the harp, there are these sound holes. And I usually attach the contact, clip that on to one of the ones in the middle. But you can kind of move it along, you can move it up or down depending where you are. Usually when I'm tuning these high strings, I might move it up. And if I'm tuning the lower strings, I might move it down, and I might pick it up a bit better because it's closer to where that sound is coming from. So we've attached the contact mic, we have got our tuner on and made sure it's on at 440. Now we don't want to tune anything just yet, we want to check the note first and see what comes up on the tuner. So if I start with C, so if you look at the tuner, can you see it's kind of, that line is going past the green mark where we want it to be, and it's a little bit over that line going towards that sharp sign, which looks like a hashtag, which means that it's too high a note for what we want, it's too sharp. Okay, I've also checked that I'm on the right note, that it is C. Okay, so it is C, but it's just a little bit too sharp. So what I want to do there is get my tuning pin, place it on, my tuning key, put it on the tuning pin. Okay, and this is important as well, make sure that your tuning key is on the right pin. The number of times I've done that where I've been on the wrong pin and I've snapped a string because I'm trying to tune a note and thinking that I'm tuning one note but I'm actually tuning another one. So make sure, check it, look at the string, make sure it lines up with the string and the pin that you're wanting to tune. So because it's a little bit sharp, too high, I want to turn it towards me, okay? I want to turn it anti-clockwise, so I just bring it back the way a little bit. And a very, very slight turn, okay? Not much movement at all. So let's have a look at it now. Maybe just a little bit flat. Yeah? Maybe just a little bit flat. Okay, so what I've got to do there is I have to turn it the opposite way. So I need to turn it away from me. I need to turn it clockwise just a little tiny bit. So very small turns, that's important as well. You don't want to be applying lots of pressure on your string. So a nice little small turn. And then if we try playing it again. So it's mainly kind of staying in the middle there and lighting up green, which means it is in tune. Okay, sometimes the little line will wave about a little bit. If it's still in tune, It's maybe picking up other noises, you know, sometimes the other strings resonate. So as long as you're trying to get it as much as you can in the middle with the green and making sure it's the right note that you're tuning up, then that's all fine. Let's try another couple of notes. So the next one up, that's D, okay, remember. So one string up is D. Let's have a look. So if we just show you that. Okay, it's coming up a little bit sharp. You can see that, it's a bit too high, which means the string is too tight. So what I've got to do is I've got to loosen it off a little bit, and I turn it towards me. I turn it anti-clockwise because I want to make it a bit less sharp or more flat. Okay. We're still a little bit sharp, so just another small turn back. And there we go, we're right in the middle there again. Okay, so we're pretty much in tune. So even if the string is really badly out of tune, only do small turns. Okay, don't try and do big massive turns. Small turns, and check it lots and lots and lots in between each turn so that you know where you're at and where you want to go. So then the next one up, I'm just checking I've lined it up with my next pin up, my next string, which is E flat. So make sure it's E flat and not E, just normal E. So on the tuner, if you look at that, can you see the flat sign next to E? Don't know if you can. Alright, but make sure that little flat sign is next to it for this note. Okay, so that's E flat. It's coming up a bit sharp, a bit too high. It's a bit too tight. Again, like some of the other strings, so I'm just going to turn that back a little bit. Okay, so turning it anti-clockwise to make it a lower note, and you turn it clockwise to make it a higher note. So that's coming up still a bit too sharp, so I'm going to put it back in. Now it's just a little bit too flat, can you see that? A bit too low, so I'm going to turn it the other way. I'm going to turn it clockwise, just using very small turns. Just a little bit too sharp, so you know it's difficult to get it in the right place, but you get there, and that's us pretty much in tune, E flat. Right, we're going to try it now with an out of tune string, like one that's quite out of tune. So let's try it with this string up here, which I've just changed recently, which is also a C. I'm just going to move the contact mic up to be closer to that where the string is. Okay, it's not actually that bad. I thought it was going to be worse. But if you look at this, I'm checking that the note is C. It's not a different note. Okay, so I'm on C, but can you see it's quite flat, which means it's quite low. The string isn't tight enough. I need to tighten the string a little bit more. Okay, so it's behind the line rather than in front of it. It's behind the middle part. So I'm just going to turn that clockwise, just a smidge. You can see where we are now. Oh, perfect. That's us in tune. So that is just a wee bit about how to tune up the harp, and I hope that helps a little bit. The other thing as well, if a string is quite badly out of tune and you're not sure, you know, you're not sure which way it should go, you know, just check it with maybe some of the other strings underneath, you know, because the strings shouldn't sound like they're really, if they're right next to each other, they shouldn't sound really far away. if you know what I mean. It shouldn't sound like a big jump between notes. So using the strings, using the other strings while you're tuning is sometimes quite a good thing to do, to check and to relate it to that note, and that will give you a better idea of whether you're close to the note that you're meant to be on. But that obviously only works when the other strings are relatively in tune as well. So yeah, so that's it really, and just remember small turns for each one, no big turns. Make sure you always check that you are tuning to the right notes. That's very important. That you're tuning to 440, and make sure that your tuning key is on the correct pin, that you're not turning the wrong pin whilst listening to another note. All very important. And yeah, and it takes a little bit of practice, but the more you do it, the more you will get used to it. So that's all. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you soon.